What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? This is Matthew the designer. Today I want us to talk about my book on graphic design. I'm writing a book on graphic design even though I have a hard copy, but this is the making, this is the process. I'm not done with the book yet. So I just decided to do a video so that we can just talk about the design, talk about the title, talk about some everything that is at the back, and also some challenges or some mistakes that are in the book cover. And also we're gonna talk about I think the first subject in the book. I'm not sure if it's a first chapter, or but I don't think it's a chapter yet because it's too short to be a chapter, but let's say the first subject. So here is the book. The title of the book is Unqualified Graphic Designer. By the way, I wanted the book to be The Unqualified Graphic Designer, but for some reason in my creative process I was like, let me throw away the and just leave Unqualified Graphic Designer. So here is the book. I'm still busy with it. Let's get into business. Why I decided to write a book, why I wrote this book. To be honest with you, at first I was like, look, I've got 10 plus years in the design industry. I've worked in different companies. I believe I know a thing or two about graphic design that a kid in the block, a new kid in the block, or a college student that might want to know. So I was like, I'm an expert. Let me gather all my thoughts and then write them down, write my experience, give you an idea of the map of your career. But as time goes by, as I was writing it, I find it out that I was totally wrong. First of all, I knew nothing about graphic design, even though I claim to have like 10 years of experience, or plus 10 years of experience with CorelDRAW and also in the printing and design business. I find it out that I knew nothing. Secondly, I find it out that you don't write as you speak. For instance, when I'm speaking to you or when I'm doing this video right now, I've got a lot of freedom. I'm not sure if it's a social freedom or an expressive freedom, but this is what I mean. I've got a lot of arms here, and I also think there's a room for making mistake. But imagine if when you are writing you can have the arms and ums in your book. So obviously the person that is reading the book can be bored, and also they can be annoyed. Also they won't understand what you are trying to say. So that's also the other thing that I have noticed about writing a book. You don't write as you speak. When you speak, you've got a lot of freedom, but when you write, you don't have a lot of freedom. You can't make mistakes, like the speech mistakes. I cannot say in the book when I'm writing then it's not gonna make sense. In a way I will be like disrespecting the reader. So I find it out that I don't write as much as I speak. I think the third thing will be writing requires a lot of clear thought process, which I happen to that happened to be my disadvantage, or my weakness or my weak point at this point in time. Look, writing a book require a lot of thought process, more especially a clear thought process. You don't just take your thoughts and then you put them in the book, but in a way you need to refine them. You need to understand, who are you writing for? Are these people gonna understand what you are trying to say? Sometimes, since you are writing in a topic that is your home ground, in a way you don't do a lot of research because you are trying to tell your story. It's something that you've experienced. It's an idea that you have about whatever that you've noticed in your experience. But however, you must write it in a way that is going to be easier for people to understand, to quickly get what you are trying to say. As you might have noticed by now, that in my thought process, like I'm too random, I'm too vague. I don't easily like get to the point. I like to do a lot of explanation, of which now when you are writing the book, I don't have that freedom. I can't give a lot of example. There's some sort of a limit, because I want also to keep the reader's attention, so that the reader cannot be bored in a way and just feel like, this book is not interesting. So I thought I was the so-called Mr. Know-it-all, and I discovered that, look, I know nothing. Let me humble myself and then try to refine the book. Print a hard copy, of course. I'm happy about the hard copy, but I must read the book thoroughly, and also I must try to check if do I make sense to myself first before I say, here is a book, it's finished, someone else can read it. Now let's talk about the design. Okay, the title is Unqualified Graphic Designer. Why the title is Unqualified Graphic Designer? Most of you guys might have went to school for graphic design, but for me, I didn't go to school for graphic design. Actually, I did I went into graphic design for a living. I finished matric and I didn't have any finances to further my studies. So the only thing that was at my disposal, it was Photoshop, which I didn't continue much with it, because I got into CorelDRAW. Reason is, I got into CorelDRAW because printing industry use CorelDRAW, and in my experience as a designer, I have been a layout artist, laying things out for printing. So that's why the title of the book is Unqualified Graphic Designer. As I've said before, to me it would have made sense if it was the Unqualified Graphic Designer, but I felt like the title is gonna be too long. And also let's say I've got some t-shirts of the book. Let's say I've got the website, so it was gonna be too long if it was gonna be the Unqualified Graphic Designer. So I was like, let me just leave Unqualified Graphic Designer. So in my typography, as you can see, I've made graphic very, very bold. I wanted the person who I wanted the cover to quickly communicate the message of, we are all about graphic design in a way. Hence here graphic, it's a little bit bigger. And then at the bottom of that there is a statement that says, from self-taught to production manager. Here I was just from self-taught to production manager. Here I was just giving you some sort of a scope of where I started and like where I am at the moment, at this point in time. So as I've said before, I taught myself, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, I spent some sleepless nights, and then until graphic design started to pay me, until I worked as a graphic designer professionally up until now. So that's how I started. But my journey didn't end there in graphic design. Then it went on to production management, which some sort of a level in my career that I felt like I'm starting to find myself, because in production management it's more about people than the technicalities of graphic design or printing, but it's all about people, because whatever that needs to be done, it must be done by people. In most cases, you're not going to be the one who's going to do it, even though having the skill as a graphic designer and also the expertise is an advantage, because you can't take let's say a manager from a retail store and then you said they must like manage a printing shop or a printing company. So my expertise as a graphic designer came handy in this new environment of production management. But however, I think at that point in my career, I have found myself in my first job as a production manager. So that's where I am at the moment. And also it is more about like dealing with people than dealing with tasks and activities. Obviously you manage and control those, but it's more about dealing with people, and I think I'm very, very comfortable. I'm not sure if I'm experienced or it's the thing that I do best, but I just became comfortable. In my first position, I felt like this is who I am, to work with people. So this self-taught to production manager just gives you an idea of where I started, and let's say where I am, or where am I gonna end in the book. And then at the bottom here I wrote all about career, design techniques, concepts, business system, work environment, and becoming the best version of yourself as a designer. So yeah, I'm just I just wrote some sort of a description of what the book entails. Obviously, as you can see, that the book is not about like graphic design as talking about Photoshop, talking about Corel Draw, pen tool, identity. It's not about that. As you can see, that the book is not about Corel Draw, Photoshop, pen tool, identity, and color palettes. In a way, it's how I view the world. It's my own experience. So it's a bit broader, and then by it being broader, it just communicates a certain element about me that I'm at not necessarily at this stage, but I'm still a bit confused as to who I am. I'm still exploring. So in printing and design business, I've been a freelancer. I've worked for myself. I also work for companies. So there's some sort of information that I know, or there's some sort of experience that I have which is outside the scope of design and creativity. For instance, I'm always hired as a designer or a creative guy, and then when I get into the work environment, then you will find me doing your performance appraisal, you will find me doing your standard operating system, standard operating procedures. You will find me doing a lot of things which are business related, marketing and sales, and also once I was employed as a business developer in a printing in a signage company. So hence here you will hear a lot of things: design techniques, concept, business system, work environment, and becoming the best version of yourself as a designer. So I'm trying to say I'm not pixel perfect in the book. I'm not about gradients, JPEGs. No, I'm not about that. But I'm just giving you an overall understanding of what's ahead of you, assuming that you are new from college as my reader. And then from then we've got my name, Matthew Msingati Hlazo, which Matthew is not really my name. Matthew is a corporate name. My name, African name, it's Msingati, which means to comfort. Hlazo, Hlazo, it's my surname. So it's Matthew Msingati Hlazo. Matthew is my pseudonym. The reason why I became Matthew is because when I was starting to work professionally, like I started to work with non-Xhosas and also non-African. I know my name is not necessarily challenging to pronounce, but it's easy to forget, or it's not easy to recall. Hence I was like, okay, let me find a name for me that I'm gonna use in the work environment. However, I've been experimenting. Matthew is not the first one. It's not the first one. I started with Mz, the designer, and then I was like, okay, when I was switching companies, in fact, let's say when I was moving to Johannesburg, because I'm from Western Cape, when I was moving to Johannesburg, I was like, okay, I want to take my career to the next level. So I was like, now here, let me be Matthew, the designer. So this is the front part of it, and the design. And then I like that color. It's a bit dark, and also it makes the words to pop up. And then let's go to the back. Now the back, I'm not sure if you can read, but I will read it for you. At the back I've got a quote that says, to realize 10 years later that I have designed all but not my career. This statement is very, very, very important to me. I'm not sure if it covers like 50% of the book, or it's almost a summary of the book in a way. To realize 10 years later that I have designed all but not my career. This quote simply means that I've been a pixel perfect designer, which was fine, or it's a right thing to do. But I've just noticed, in being a pixel perfect designer, I'm designing logos, I'm designing flyers, I'm designing banner, I'm designing company identities, but I've just noticed that, look, I haven't designed my own career. Hence, when I've switched my name to Matthew, I was like, look, let me try to do something about my own career. Let me view design not as a job, but as a career. If I view it as a job, then I will be stuck in pixels and be known for graphic related skills, or be known for solving graphic related problems. But however, if I can view it as a career, the same way I've been passionate about designing, now let me be passionate about designing my own career. So hence I'm saying that to realize 10 years later that I've designed all but not my career, then I became intentional in my career. I wanted to move from designing, I wanted to move from Photoshop, I wanted to move from CorelDRAW solving graphic related problems. I wanted to push my career into production management, to be responsible for production, making sure that the quality is right. Hence I got into standard operating system and procedures. Also I got into lean principles. Also I got into ISO 900, because those are the tools that helped me to get my first job as a production manager. So I was very, very intentional. Hence I'm saying I've designed all but not my career. Then I became intentional. And then, as you can see here, also there's the author. This is my picture. Maybe here I might look younger or older, you never know. So Matthew Msingatihlazo is the author. And then here there's also a statement. There's some sort of a spelling mistake here, but I will tell you as I read. I'm from Dimbaza, I think, a city, a village, a township, but most of all and I said a pace, P-A-C-E. I was supposed to say a place. A township, most of all a place where my creativity belongs. I'm from a little township called Dimbaza. That's where I'm from. So this is like some sort of a signature to say, hey, look, this is where I'm from. I believe your history is very important. It determines your future. So also Dimbaza made me. That place fashioned the person that is presenting to you today, the ups and downs and everything. So hence it was very, very important to me on the cover at the back to mention where I'm from. Let's just read the statement again so that I can give you an understanding of how I think and how I write, or my own style of writing. And also maybe here you might see why I just decided to print the book only for reading it. I'm from Dimbaza, I think. I'm not sure if that's the right English or that's the right I'm communicating something. I'm not sure, but with me, I wrote it deliberately like that. I didn't want it to communicate anything. I'm trying to say what I'm philosophical, and also I'm poetic in my writing in a way. So my writing is not obvious, which that became a challenge. Because here, if I want to tell you my story and also I want to be poetic, then you might not get what I'm trying to say. You might enjoy the flow and the rhyme and the rhythm of the content, but you might not get the essence of who I am. As much as I want to be philosophical, and also at times I want to be poetic, but this writing this book brought my attention to, look, you have to make sense. Not everything is poetry. No, creativity is not needed for everything. So hence I'm saying, now when I'm reading it, I'm like, sometimes I can be too much poetic, or let's say too playful, I'm not sure, because I'm saying I'm from Dimbaza. I think you can't say you think you are from your place of birth. It doesn't really make sense. Hence I'm saying this book it became a mirror of how I think, and also how I view the world, and also how I express myself. Hence you hear me saying I'm from a Dimbaza, I think, a city, a village, a township, but most of all a place where my creativity belongs. So here is it. It's a book. I'm still writing it. If you might have some other questions, or some suggestion, or some other ideas that you might have, feel free to check my about page or tab in my YouTube channel, and just send me an email. So I'm not sure if you can see, but this is just another page with the title, and then we're gonna discuss about this section, and then we are done. Only this section, I know, is not visible enough because of my light, but however, I'm gonna read it for you. The title of this section is Water and Syrup of Design. Why this heading? Why Water and Syrup of Design? Some time ago, I watched a movie called Syrup, which it happened to be a business movie, a movie that explores branding, a movie that explores marketing, a movie that explores like communicating a certain idea to the market, which I loved the movie. I don't wanna lie. Hence it has been in my mind ever since. I think I must check in my laptop and look for the movie and watch it again, because it's been some time. Maybe it's been like 4 to 7 years ever since. But I got the concept of what was the movie trying to say. There is some sort of a scene, I believe, in the movie where one of the actors, or the main actor, is saying all beverages, they are nothing but water and syrup. All beverages are nothing but water and syrup. Therefore, it is very important to take care of all the necessary steps that comes after the water and syrup. So basically, this is what the guy was trying to say. Everything is water and syrup. If you look at, let's say, at Coca-Cola, it's water and syrup. If you look at Pepsi, it's water and syrup. It's water, it's liquid, and it's sweet, and that's it. So the guy was just trying to say that's the basic of the product, but what we do with it from that point going forward tells all the difference. So in a way, after you are done with the product, the branding, the marketing, the brand messaging, it's very important. So this title comes from that, water and syrup of design. So meaning that there is a product which is just, let's say for now, let me just borrow the word, it's just an ordinary product. It's similar to the competitor's product, but however, there is something else which, according to the context of the movie, was branding, was marketing, was advertising, was perception, was all about brand positioning. So I just took the same concept and said water and syrup. Just on that heading, let's discuss my complexities. I'm very complex. I encode messages, of which this title or this heading, it's too complex, it's too deep. It needs explanation, a lot of explanation on its own, of which for me I've just decided to name it like that. Hence I'm saying printing this copy like helped me on also understanding my complexities of my own thought process, which after reading it or after noticing that sometimes I can be too complex, I was like, maybe I can come up with a better heading than this one. But that's where the heading come from. It's water and syrup of design. So what am I trying to say in this section? This is what I'm trying to say in this section. There is a water and syrup of design. Like design, basically, it's just water and syrup. That means it's a so-called water and syrup that the competitors also have. There is no much of a difference in a way. So there is a direction that I'm trying to push you into as a designer. So I'm just trying to say, look, your skills, your Photoshop skills, your graphic design skills, your Corel Draw skills, they are just water and syrup. Someone else can have the same skills and maybe more than you. But however, there is something important, which is, that's what I'm trying to introduce in this book, which in my experience as a designer, I've just noticed that you can be a very, very, very skillful designer. You can be very, very skilled with Corel Draw, Photoshop, and Illustrator. But however, there are things around design which I think they are the cornerstone of being professional, which is that's the most important thing in your career, to be a professional, to be someone who's trusted for that. Unfortunately, your graphic design skills or your Photoshop skills really, they can't make you a professional. We can argue about it, I understand, but this is my own point of view as far as my own experience is concerned. Here is the reason. What is the use of being a very, very pixel perfect guy that is trusted for solving graphic design related problems, and then all of a sudden, every after payday, you don't pitch up at work? We are talking about self-discipline. We are talking about the will. We are talking about the zeal. We are talking about and some sort of to be wise enough to understand what is it that you are wasting, to understand that you are also wasting your own time. So how are those things going to help you? Let's say you are very, very good at designing logos. You are fast, we understand. But for some reason, you've got a temperament problem. You can't get along with other people. Like you fight with everyone. Are you gonna last? Like, are you gonna be too long in your own career? Are you gonna push your career forward? No. So this is what I'm trying to say. You might be pixel perfect, which is when you are coming from varsity or when you are new in graphic design. That's the most important thing. But as soon as you get the hang of it, there is something more, there is something greater. First of all, to be punctual. Now we are building you as a human. To be punctual is important. Attention to detail is important. To be disciplined is important. To set high standards for yourself is important. You will then recover, if you've been in the printing industry for too long, that these graphic design skills, the more I get experience as a graphic designer, the more they become less important. For instance, in printing, if you are a designer who's going to make sure that you minimize spelling mistakes and printing mistakes, I think you are preferable. You can be the top dog in printing only because of you've got less mistakes, because there is no company that wants a pixel perfect designer that does a lot of mistakes. So in this chapter, water and syrup, I'm just trying to say your skills as a designer, they are just water and syrup. Work on them in your first, second, or maybe third year in the game. But in the fourth year, I'm expecting you to concentrate on something else, on different things, so that you can solve bigger problems than graphic design problems. If you are interested on becoming a pixel perfect designer, I don't have a problem with that. But me, I didn't want it to be like that. Hence, I shifted to production management. At this point in time, I'm pushing my careers. I feel like, of which I don't know what the future holds. I feel like I'm done with printing. I have served my own period, but now I must push my career into branding, into more consulting kind of a thing. Since I've just noticed an important aspect of me, I like to explain, I like to discover, I like to think, I like to know what motivates us to do things, like psychology, the psychology of behavior. And also I like to understand why people buy certain product. I like to understand why a certain brand is perceived this way than the other brand. Hence I'm saying at this point in time I'm pushing my own career to that level. But however, there are people who are satisfied with being designers, or who are content, or who are fulfilled. That is not a problem. I salute you. Fulfillment comes first. You must be fulfilled first. So this chapter, not necessarily chapter, this section talks about that. It talks about water and syrup, that there is more to graphic design than being pixel perfect. There are things that are more important, or things that are important also as well, that you need to consider. Be professional, be a business professional. And as you get into the game, you will realize that most companies actually, they are looking for business professionals than designers. People who know how to handle clients, people who know what the brand means, meaning that they won't get into the business and tarnish the brand. So this is the book I'm still writing. In the next video we're gonna discuss another section. Maybe by then we're gonna get into details. Otherwise, for me, Matthew the designer, please subscribe.